Welcome back to Music Kingdom, and back by popular demand, another first-time listen blind review of a metal song. I got a lot of comments in the Iron Maiden review, I got a lot of comments in the Metallica review, and in a lot of those comments, I got suggestions for a band named Tool. And one of those comments suggested a song by Tool that is written and composed based on the Fibonacci sequence, the mathematic golden ratio of the universe, with lyrics pertaining to metaphysics and the laws of non-resistance. And I said, honey, which is me, dust off my snazzy black dress shirt with the print. And I did, because I am in for a wild ride, and so are you, because in this video we are listening to, giving a music theory breakdown for, good luck to our expert, and blindly reviewing Lateralus by Tool. Hang tight. Hey music lovers, my name is Francis. If you'd like to support the work I put into these videos, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you'll find Music Kingdom's Patreon and other affiliate links in the description below. Alright, now before we give the song a listen, first let's briefly talk Lateralus by Tool. Usually at this part of my videos, if I'm showing you guys something, I will be digging into a little bit of the history, the context, facts, trivia, the making of the song or the album, or otherwise just information about the artist or band themselves. However, since I'm introducing myself to the song, and I assume 99% of you guys know way more about Tool than myself, I am going to encourage you to leave comments down below regarding either information about Tool, the album, or the song itself. But even still, this is still Music Kingdom, and on the off chance that someone stumbles upon this video not really knowing too much about Tool, the song, or the album, I will give some brief history. The song Lateralus is from Tool's third studio album, also titled Lateralus, released in 2001. When it was released in 2001, the album did debut as well at #1 on the charts, selling over 500,000 copies in the first week alone. In addition to that level of badassery as well, in the year 2002, the band Tool also picked up a Grammy Award for Best Metal Performance. And you guys who know more about Tool than myself will have to let me know in the comments down below whether it's true or not that I've heard this album as a whole took more steps towards being progressive rock or progressive metal as opposed to, I suppose, the reputation Tool apparently had in the past being alternative metal. Now regarding the song Lateralus itself, it was initially titled 987 because, and this is so badass, 987 is the 16th integer in the Fibonacci sequence. Also because, even more badass, this song apparently features time signatures that go from 98 to 88 to 78, all the while having lyrics with themes of metaphysics, spirituality, laws of non-resistance, philosophy, consciousness, mathematics, the universe. And some of you might roll your eyes because nobody asked, and this is unsolicited, but in my own personal life, in my private life, I am someone who is immensely spiritual. I'd say a good half of those books are all about what the lyrics in this song are also about. Hence why I'm feeling snazzy and why I am so excited to explore this song. For what it's worth, in case you are new to the channel or new to my metal reviews, I would like to make it clear, when I say I am a non-metalhead, I do not mean I am anti-metal, I do not mean I dislike metal. I simply mean that despite my love for music past and present, multiple genres, multiple decades, the genre of metal specifically, its culture, its intricacies, its artistry, creativity, is one that I really have yet to thoroughly explore and one that I am dipping my toes into. So obviously it should go without saying, any other Tool recommendations, metal recommendations, or recommendations of any genre of music, any artist, drop them below in the comments. Alright, at long last, it's time we give the song a listen, and just a heads up, I will be periodically pausing throughout the song to give my thoughts, and of course to avoid copyright strikes. And as always, be sure to stick around after the song for a music theory breakdown from our expert. I think you'll have his hands full on this one. And then after that, we will divide the song into specific categories, grading them each, and arriving at an overall score. Very peaceful start. I like the build-up that's going on too. Gets you excited. You can already hear the fuckery. First thoughts, not much to say so far. Beautiful beginning of the song. I like the gradual build-up where they don't just come out right and smack you to start the song. They really make you want it, they tease it, and then the way it hits is so satisfying, and you can already feel the sorcery that they're doing compositionally speaking. Now, usually when I'm reviewing a song, I have the laptop to the side and I'm just staring off into space, feeling everything about the song. But for this one specifically, just based off what I've heard about it, I would like to give it the respect it deserves and rate along. You can hear the syllables that they're doing. Amazing.
As below, so above and beyond, I imagine. Drawn beyond the lines of reason. Push the envelope, watch it bend.
It's like they're doing that and then doing that. I love that lyric. Yes. Okay, holy shit. These lyrics, overthinking, overanalyzing, separates the body from the mind, withering my intuition, missing opportunities, etc. That to me is gorgeous. Also so impressive knowing that they're doing this with the time signatures in the Fibonacci sequence and the wisdom of many books you can read talking about being present, being in the moment, blocking things some people consider natural or psychic like intuition. It is just so far up my alley, and to do it with the musical brilliance is astonishing. Beautiful. The syllables. This is so good. Oh my god. And the drumming, like the time signatures. Oh. Oh my god. Not only are the lyrics brilliant, philosophical, contemplative, spiritual, mathematics, scientific, the song itself, musically, is also insane, which I know is duh, stating the obvious, but I think what I'm trying to say is, like, I would read these lyrics by themselves in a book, and I would gladly listen to an instrumental, so the fact that they're intertwined and done in such a brilliant way, I don't even know what to say. What a journey this is. In addition to the lyrics, the song itself has a certain beauty to it. Yes! This is insanely beautiful. Oh! You guys. Reaching out to embrace the random, reaching out to embrace whatever may come, I embrace my desire to feel the rhythm, to feel connected, enough to step aside and weep like a widow, to feel inspired, to fathom the power, to witness the beauty, to bathe in the fountain, to swing on the spiral of our divinity, and still be human. What a beautiful way, in my opinion, to somewhat express faith. And not in a preachy way, and not in a religious way, not in a dogmatic way, in a very natural, mathematic, scientific, wholesome, holistic way. Understanding that the nature you're gazing at, the way a hurricane looks, a Milky Way, songs you hear, beauty, creativity, science, mathematics, all being one genius thing. And when he's saying to swing on the spiral, that essentially means surrender to the current of life, the rhythm of life, the natural flow of things. And I love that they get it, and even more so that they're composing a song based on the golden ratio in the Fibonacci sequence. It's not often I hear that kind of stuff in the world of music outside of books, aside from maybe Michael Jackson. Another reason I love that guy is because he understood this profound, deep, universal rhythm of life principle. And to hear it in the genre of metal is breathtaking. Oh my god. Oh man. Oh. My body can't even keep up with the beat. So beautiful. That is so
genius.
I'm almost tearing up. The solos in this song have been so good. Oh. Oh. Ooh. Nah, okay, we're good. We're good. It's like I just had the best sex of my life. Initial thoughts. I usually always have something to say. And I don't have much to say right now. I suppose what I can say is it's very rare in all the years I've listened and adored music. It's rare when a song, and they're out there, affects me like that. I'm fucking stumbling on my words. It's rare when a song affects me like that. It has to be well done in a musical way, and the lyrics have to really hit. And boy, did they. If I take off the hat of my personal beliefs, right, if you will, my passion for that kind of knowledge, I am still left with a masterfully crafted song, a masterfully done work of art. I've got to say, those are probably some of my favorite lyrics I've heard in music. I'm blown away at the brilliance to compose it the way they did with the Fibonacci sequence, with the golden ratio. Now, if I don't want to kiss too much ass, if I want to keep it as objective as possible, it's not the most listenable song, right? And I think that's to be expected when something is so obviously abstract and mathematical. Kind of like a painting in a gallery where you're looking at it and it's like, I don't get it, as opposed to something where you look at it and you totally get it. Same with music, the way it's put together. If something's too abstract, it's not something you can just get into. But even still, having said that, I would say it maintains a strong enough degree of listenability, and I cannot wait to divide it into specific categories, grading them each, arriving at an overall score. But first, let's go to the expert's corner for a music theory breakdown and to hear what he has to say.
Welcome to the Experts Corner. This is Lateralus by Tool. This song is in the time signatures of, as far as I know, 5/8, 7/8, 8/8, and 9/8. Holy crap. As far as I can tell, it's in the key of what I would say is D minor. It seems to just kind of rest on a D power chord. A D power chord is just the notes D and A. You could call it D5 if you like. I'm not going to get into too much detail on the chords themselves or the chord progressions, because really where this song's strengths are is in the rhythm, in the math. This is such a math-heavy song. High school me would have hated it. But current me is a music geek, and I loved listening to it and analyzing exactly what was happening. So, the brief chord overview. Throughout the song, you have four main chords. You have D5, which is where it rests. You have F5. You have G5, sometimes you have C5. So throughout the song you get variations of like, now I'm sure there are little bits where it's not one of those chords, but that's the gist. What I really want to talk about are these time signatures. I read somewhere that the original title of this song was 9/8/7 because in the choruses, the drummer is playing in the time signature of a bar of 9/8, a bar of 8/8, and a bar of 7/8. And then in the verses, as far as I can tell, it's just repeating bars of 5/8. And God knows if there are more time signatures in the rest of this song. You guys will have to let me know. So, the 9/8/7 section. Count it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The amount of focus I had to put into counting that when I first listened to it and I had heard about the 9/8/7 was really difficult, but so fascinating. Now for the 5/8 part, the verses, which is somehow almost just as hard to count for me, personally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can hear the 5 a little better when the bass comes in and repeats its riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. So overall, I have to say I've never heard anything like this. All of the math involved, the insane attention to detail, the involvement of the Fibonacci sequence, the effort it took to hear these time signatures and count them out and really figure out what was happening. It was so much fun. I loved the lyrics. I loved the vocals. There's a section near the end where they're really rocking out, and I truly loved that. But with a song that accomplishes what this one has, with its complexity, with its math, with its insane time signatures, comes a downside for me, and that is listenability. I have to be completely honest here, and don't track me down. It wasn't fun to listen to. It was fun to decipher it, to figure out what was going on, but it wasn't something that I enjoyed sitting there listening to. Tonally, and I mean chord-wise, there wasn't much going on. It repeated a lot of the same stuff, and the time signatures just make it to where I can't get into it. Also, I think the song goes on for a little longer than it should. And of course, these things may be subjective. I'm sure I'm gonna piss off some of you guys. I'm sure to many of you, this is the most perfect song in the world, and I respect that. So for all those reasons, I do have to take some points off, despite what an incredibly crafted work of art it is, and I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. Back to you, Francis.
A very special thank you to our expert for providing a music theory breakdown and giving the song a modest 7.5 out of 10, which is still good. But fear not, now it's time to divide the song into 5 specific categories, grading them each and arriving at an overall score. Starting out with composition specifically, I'm inclined to give this song's composition a 9 out of 10. Since our expert just talked at length about the composition, I will keep this brief. Honestly, having just heard the song, it is pretty self-explanatory with those insane time signatures. This song is essentially a listenable math equation, executed perfectly. Whether we're talking about the drumming, whether we're talking about the way it was literally written, or whether we're talking about details like the first verse literally starting on some math equation that I can no longer remember. Masterful composition, absolutely masterful. Now, why is it not a 10? Because here's the thing that I might catch some heat for in the comments. As mentioned earlier in the video, they do maintain a certain degree of listenability. However, part of a beautiful composition is also beauty, melody. And in the world of music, when something is so abstract, it then becomes a fine line of brilliance and something that's appealing. So in the end, I am only taking that 1 point off simply because absolute brilliance, which this song does have, doesn't always equal beauty, melody, or as mentioned, appeal. Up next, we have production specifically, and in the genre of metal, it is pretty difficult for me to gauge. However, that being said, I will be giving it an 8 out of 10. With some hard rock songs or with some metal songs, I'm almost inclined to give it an A for not applicable. Other times I'm inclined to give it a standard 5 out of 10 for being the norm. But with this song specifically, I do feel an 8 is deserving because there is such an attention to detail with how the song is put together. And yes, the way a song is put together is technically composition, but I'm thinking more about the sound engineers, the way it's mixed. It's a very crisp production, it's very clear, none of the instrumentation sounds muddy, and the task of a producer to successfully produce something as delicate and intricate and advanced as this song is, for me, is no small feat. The only reason I'm not going higher than that is because in other genres of music, production can be so much more. You can throw horns at something, you can throw strings at something, you can throw sounds and layers into a song. So in my opinion, a metal song getting an 8 in production alone is very impressive. All right, moving on to the category of lyrics, I am giving these a very strong and rare 9 out of 10. When talking about the lyrics, I will get one thing out of the way, and that would be, I want to acknowledge these lyrics are not necessarily written in the sense of brilliance or poetry, such as Paul Anka, Neil Diamond, Joni Mitchell, Billy Joel, Barry Gibb, so on and so forth. Exceptional at their crafts, poets in their own right. But this gets a 9 for me because yes, of course, the subject matter at hand has extraordinary depth. Whether philosophy, spirituality, metaphysics, science, math are up your alley or not, you have to acknowledge the absolute brilliance that went into writing these. And on top of that, what makes it even more impressive to me is that you can coherently write lyrics that make sense, that have a direction, that have a purpose, while simultaneously fitting the lyrics into the restraints of time signatures that go along with the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. Throw the profound principles of contemplating existence as we know it into the equation and blows me away. Up next, we're gonna come a bit back down to earth and talk about vocals in this song, which I am giving a strong 7.5 out of 10. Now, obviously in a song like this, are vocals the star of the show? No, they're not supposed to be. Having said that, this is still Music Kingdom and we still grade vocals, so while I don't necessarily hold it against Tool for not delivering an insane vocal performance, I'm still going to be objective enough to say that it was good enough, but not quite great, especially when compared, whether fair or unfair, to some of the greatest vocal performances in the history of the industry. I did feel they were strong. It is still impressive to create that sound with your voice, that certain grit and that growl. And of course, I am not dismissing the parts of the song where he really did belt it and you were impressed. Having said that, it's not necessarily anything we haven't heard before, so in my opinion, a 7.5 is very good, but not quite great. All right, now arriving at our final category of originality and or inspiration. This is a very special moment in this channel's, in Music Kingdom's history, because this is the first time I am ever giving a song in any category a perfect 10 out of 10. This song is literally a listenable math equation with lyrics that simultaneously ponder the existence and the divinity of life itself. I mean, Christ. When I think of this category of originality, other synonymous words would be authenticity, creativity, vision, purpose, intention, creating something from nothing that no one has heard before or since. When talking about some of the best originality and inspiration in the history of music, you have the short film for Smooth Criminal. You have songs like Bohemian Rhapsody. You have film scores like Spirited Away by Joe Hisaishi. And you have songs like Lateralus by Tool. So now if we add it all up, throw in the expert score and average it out, Lateralus by Tool from the album Lateralus, their third studio album released in 2001, gets a very strong 8.5 out of 10. I feel a bit conflicted within myself, having just listened to it and experienced it for the first time, nearly being moved to tears. But yes, by dissecting it and really breaking it down, for all of the aforementioned reasons, I do land on an 8.5, which is still great. Anything that gets an 8 or above on this channel is truly impressive. But with everything said, all of the reasons I've provided, trying to be as objectively subjective or subjectively objective as possible, you'll have to let me know in the comments whether or not you agree. Am I warmer? Am I colder? Am I batshit crazy? Am I right on the money? Am I being sacrilegious to such a masterful song? As well, let me know in the comments other recommendations by Tool that you have for this channel to review, or as well other metal recommendations or recommendations of any genre of any decade. As always, in terms of education, leave comments for myself and others who are new to Tool down below in the comments. Being a fan of music and its history, I would love learning anything there is to know about either the song, the making of this album, or the band Tool themselves. As always, if you'd like to support myself and the work I put into these videos, click the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to support the channel even further, you'll find Music Kingdom's Patreon and other affiliate links in the description below. This has been another edition of Music Kingdom. Thank you so much for listening with me, and I'll look forward to jamming with you in the next one.